You know, everyone talks about New York pizza being an iconic food of the city, and obviously that's true. But honestly, I think New York halal carts are just as iconic, if not more. Chicken over rice is one of those foods that's insanely comforting, ridiculously flavorful, and somehow always hits exactly where you need it to. And it's not just a New York thing. You can basically find halal carts at any major city across the country, especially in college neighborhoods. So today we're making halal cart style chicken over rice at home. Super simple and comforting and packed with flavor. Let's get started. For this recipe, we're going to be using some chicken thighs. I have just under 2 pounds, like 4 large boneless, skinless chicken thighs. Seasonings and spices, I'll get to these later. 2 cups of basmati rice, I'm using brown. Chicken stock, 3 tablespoons of butter, 2 cloves of garlic, lettuce, tomatoes, yogurt, mayo, vinegar, and I forgot to put these in the picture, but they're definitely important, lemons and cilantro. All right, let's start with the chicken marinade. This is where most of the flavor comes from, and even though it sounds like a lot, it's actually really simple. First, we're adding 3 tablespoons of some kind of neutral oil. I'm going to use avocado oil. Next, 1 tablespoon of white vinegar, then about a half of lemon's worth of lemon juice. Now, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of cumin, coriander, onion powder, garlic powder, smoked paprika, and then half a teaspoon of turmeric and half a teaspoon of cinnamon and half a teaspoon of cayenne. And finally, I'm going to add just a little bit of yogurt, maybe like a tablespoon. I want to help bind all this stuff together, but I also want the chicken to get a nice char in the pan, so I'm not going to add too much. Next, I'm going to cut the chicken. Usually I would want to do this after I cut everything else because now I'm going to have to wash the cutting board, but I want this chicken to be marinated for a while before I cook it. Ideally, I would do this for a couple hours at least, maybe even overnight, but I'm hungry right now, so this will be fine for me in the moment. We're going to take the chicken thighs and get them into smaller pieces. Not too small though. I'm going to take each thigh maybe into like 3 pieces, each 3 or 4. This will help get some more char throughout. They'll cook a little quicker and it'll just overall be better. Get these mixed together and set them aside. On a freshly washed cutting board, now we're going to cut some lettuce and tomatoes. These will just be like a small, simple salad-ish thing on the side. I want to get these cut though and in the refrigerator because when they're cold next to the hot chicken and rice, makes a nice contrast. Let's chop up some cilantro as well. We can use this to garnish. While we still wait for the chicken to marinate a bit, we can start the rice because it's going to take a little bit of time to cook. So to our pan, let's add the 3 tablespoons of butter. Get that melted down, then add our washed rice in. Teaspoon of turmeric, teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of coriander, and half a teaspoon of cumin. Mix that all together, toast it for a bit, and then add 2 to 3 cups of chicken stock. Bring that to a boil, then cover, set the heat to low. And I'm actually going to turn my burner on the side on to low and move it to the side so we can cook the chicken on my cast iron. So get the cast iron piping hot. Let's put a little bit of oil in there, and we're going to cook these chicken pieces and give them a nice sear. This actually smells really good, and they are definitely searing up nicely. See, you guys thought I didn't know what I was talking about. I'm going to do my chicken in 2 batches because I want them to have plenty of space between them and be able to develop that nice char that's going to taste so awesome. Yeah, for sure. All right, let's remove those and set them aside. Now, actually, we're going to grab our 2 garlic cloves, give them a crush, take the skins off, and I'm just going to cook them in the pan for a second to kind of quote unquote roast them and to get some of this flavor. We're going to use this in our white sauce, actually. I'm going to make a white sauce now. This is usually my favorite part of chicken over rice. There's usually also a hot sauce, but I actually have some hot sauce that I made. So I don't want to have too much in my fridge between all these cooking videos. So we'll just make the white sauce, and you can use your favorite hot sauce or look up a good recipe for one. There's some good kind of more saucier ones, and then also like chili oil style ones that all taste good in this scenario. But anyway, we're going to do about half a cup to a cup of mayo, half a cup of yogurt, juice from half a lemon, our roasted garlic cloves, about a tablespoon of white vinegar, about a teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of pepper, and blend that up. I kind of like mine a little runnier, so I'm going to add a little bit of water to it just to kind of thin it out. I'm also going to get a little crazy and put a small handful of cilantro in this. Gonna very carefully add it to this squeeze bottle and spill it all over my counter. All right, once the chicken was rested, I'm gonna actually cut it on the cutting board into smaller pieces, and we're gonna cook it just a little longer, get a little more char in it. Also, I was thinking it might be slightly undercooked, so you can do that if you're like me and mess it up a little bit. But actually, I love the way this turned out. It did get a little crispy, and I don't know, it tastes awesome as I'm recording this after I've already eaten it. And there you have it. Chicken over rice. This looks awesome. Let's get a plate together and try it out. Yeah, this was really good, actually. I'm not just saying that because I feel like I have to in this video. You should probably just make this. It took essentially no time. It's pretty easy and totally worth it. So, yeah, if you like that, please subscribe. It'll be fun. I'll post a bunch of stuff. I feel like I'm always cooking, so why not, make content, I guess. Slightly depressing, but that's the world we live in. See you next time.